Bullied for his size and weakness, 300-pound high school senior Goro Shimada witnesses a dying swordsman battling a shadow monster in an alley. The warrior seals the souls of 108 fallen swordsmen inside Goro's body, now gaining their powers. He will become the strongest swordsman in the world. Goro Shimada is a 300-pound high school senior whose life is an endless cycle of humiliation and pain. Every single day, this gentle giant shuffles through the hallways of Sato High School with his eyes glued to the floor, desperately trying to make himself invisible. But when you're that size, invisibility is impossible. Takashi, the captain of the kendo team, has made tormenting Goro his personal mission. "Hey, Sumo," he calls out, blocking Goro's path to class. "Still taking up the whole hallway, I see." The cruelty doesn't stop there. Takashi pokes him hard in the chest, sneering, "It's offensive, really, looking the way you do." But the worst moment comes during lunch. Goro sits alone in the corner of the cafeteria, methodically eating the bento his mother lovingly prepared, when Takashi approaches with a bamboo training sword. "What if we made you fight for once?" he taunts, before flipping Goro's lunchbox upside down, scattering rice and vegetables across the floor. The entire cafeteria falls silent as Takashi forces a training sword into Goro's trembling hands. "Let's see if you can even hold it properly." When Takashi strikes, Goro's pathetic attempt at defense fails instantly. The sword flies from his hands, clattering across the floor as laughter erupts from the watching students. This is Goro's reality, a walking punching bag who can't even defend himself against a wooden sword. That rainy afternoon changes everything. Humiliated and broken, Goro takes a shortcut through a narrow alley, trying to avoid being seen by anyone who witnessed his shame. But this alley holds something that will transform his world forever. Through the downpour, he witnesses an impossible battle. An elderly swordsman with faces off against a creature of pure nightmare, a shadow monster that seems to absorb the very darkness around it. This master warrior moves with inhuman speed and precision. Blood streams down the old man's weathered face. The dying swordsman notices Goro watching from the shadows. Recognition flickers in his eyes, though they've never met. "You," he gasps, falling against the terrified teenager. "It must be you." In his final moments, this master swordsman presses his bleeding hand against Goro's chest and speaks words in an ancient language. Blue light flows from the warrior's palm into his very soul. Around them, the ghostly forms of 108 samurai warriors appear, each one flowing into Goro's body before vanishing. "Run, vessel," the old man commands with his dying breath. "They will guide you now." The shadow creature turns its empty gaze toward Goro, sensing something has fundamentally changed. But before it can act, the entity retreats into the darkness, leaving Goro convulsing on the wet ground as voices, dozens of them, suddenly fill his mind. The next morning, Goro wakes thinking it was all a nightmare, until he hears whispers at the edge of his consciousness. "You bear our mark now, vessel," they say. These aren't just random spirits. Each one was a master swordsman with their own legendary techniques, their own tragic stories, and their own incredible power. At first, Goro tries to ignore them, but when Takashi corners him again with his kendo team buddies, something extraordinary happens. "Time for round 2, Sumo," Takashi sneers, producing another training sword. But as he lunges forward, one of the warrior spirits, Sasaki Kojiro, pushes forward in Goro's consciousness. "I will show you how to survive, boy." A rough, ancient voice speaks in his mind. Suddenly, Goro's body moves, and to everyone's shock, a faint blue outline appears, the ghostly form of a curved blade. When Takashi attacks, Goro flows through a series of defensive movements so precise and fluid that they seem choreographed. The bullies back away, fear replacing their usual arrogance. Word spreads quickly through the school. Some whisper that Goro has been secretly training in martial arts. Others suspect something far more sinister, but Goro himself is just as confused as everyone else. The physical transformation is just as dramatic as the spiritual awakening. Following weeks, Goro's excess weight melts away at an impossible rate, replaced by lean muscle and supernatural reflexes. The warrior souls are literally remaking his body from the inside out. But power always comes with a price. Goro starts experiencing vivid dreams, memories that belong to the warriors within him. He sees their battles, their triumphs, and most disturbingly, their darkest moments. These weren't just heroic swordsmen. They were killers who had committed terrible acts. "Why am I seeing these things?" he whispers into the darkness. The binding grows stronger. The dominant voice in his head explains. "As your body adapts to our presence, your mind opens to our memories." Enter Hina, a genuine shrine maiden who can see the spiritual energy radiating from Goro like a beacon. She approaches him after sensing the massive disturbance in the spiritual realm. "Your aura," she gasps. "I've never seen anything like it. Multiple spirits, dozens of them, all contained within a single body." Hina reveals that her family has kept records of supernatural phenomena for generations, and the 108 sins of the sword appear in scrolls dating back centuries. Each warrior was undefeated in life, but committed terrible acts with their power. Their souls were sealed into a collective prison, passed from vessel to vessel through time. This revelation terrifies Goro, especially when Hina tells him what happened to previous vessels. According to our records, none survived more than a few years. The power of the 108 is too great for a human body to contain indefinitely. Things become even more complicated when the Hallowed Order reveals themselves. These mysterious figures in ornate masks claim they've been watching vessels like Goro for centuries, supposedly to help them control their dangerous power. But their true intentions become clear during their first confrontation. Vessel of the 108 Sins, the fox-masked leader declares, "Your existence is deemed a threat to the mortal realm. Surrender for purification or be eliminated." The battle that follows is devastating. 5 elite exorcists with specialized weapons attack Goro simultaneously, forcing him to channel multiple warrior spirits at once. But even with the collective skill of legendary warriors, fighting 5 masters simultaneously pushes him to his limits. Just when it seems the order will overwhelm him, the enigmatic masked swordsman appears. This tall figure in traditional samurai garb intervenes with absolute authority, commanding the order members to withdraw. When they're alone, he reveals a shocking truth. "I was a vessel too. For 11 years, I carried the burden you now bear, the only vessel in 3 centuries to survive that long." The masked swordsman explains that he was freed through a ritual that nearly killed him, leaving him uniquely qualified to lead the Hallowed Order. But his warnings about the inevitable corruption carry the weight of personal experience. The spirits within you cannot be controlled, only erased. Eventually, the vessel's identity is completely subsumed. As if to prove his point, shadow creatures called Shikaban begin appearing more frequently, drawn to Goro's massive spiritual energy like moths to a flame. These entities feed on souls, and the power radiating from 108 warrior spirits makes Goro an irresistible target. The battles escalate in both frequency and intensity. Goro faces an elder Shikaban in broad daylight, a creature so powerful that its very presence begins warping reality around it. Drawing on 3 different fighting styles simultaneously, he manages to destroy the creature, but the victory comes at a terrible cost. With each battle, Goro feels the warrior's emotions bleeding into his personality. His own identity begins to blur at the edges, but the real revelation comes when he faces the Shikaban King, a colossal shadow entity that threatens to devour the entire city. During this desperate battle, the creature does something unprecedented. It reaches into Goro's very soul and pulls out one of the warrior spirits, fully manifesting her as a separate entity. "May!" the warrior woman gasps, staring at her own hands in confusion. "My name is May." But as her memories return, the truth becomes clear. We never chose this imprisonment. We were betrayed. The 108 warriors weren't sinners seeking redemption. They were guardians who had fought to protect the boundary between worlds, only to be betrayed by the very people they served. This revelation leads Goro to Master Dazai, the ancient architect of the conspiracy, living in seclusion atop a mountain shrine. The old man reveals the ultimate truth with chilling satisfaction. The 108 warriors were never meant to serve as individual spirits. They were components in a larger design, sealed together to create a vessel capable of hosting something far more dangerous. The god of endless hunger. Dazai explains, an ancient deity banished from our realm millennia ago. My master sought to bring it back, but they needed a suitable host. Goro isn't just a random vessel. He's the 108th warrior, the final component needed to complete the transformation. His entire bloodline was carefully cultivated over generations to produce this moment. As this knowledge settles over him, Goro feels something shift deep within his soul. The god of blades, the merged consciousness of the 108 warriors, begins to manifest through his body. Reality itself bends and breaks as this divine entity stirs to life. Buildings collapse under invisible sword strikes, the sky tears open revealing glimpses of other dimensions, and the very air seems to slice apart. The transformation accelerates rapidly. Goro finds himself losing control of his own body as the god of blades takes over, wielding phantom weapons with inhuman skill and devastating power. His consciousness becomes a prisoner in his own flesh. The masked swordsman arrives for a final confrontation, wielding a black blade that seems to drink in light rather than reflect it. He explains the only solution. The transformation requires all 108 components. If enough were sacrificed, the god of blades could not manifest fully. Deliberately sacrifice half the warriors to break the ritual's symmetry, or allow the god of blades to fully manifest and destroy everything. Goro makes a decision. Instead of choosing which warriors must die, he chooses to sacrifice himself. In an act of desperate courage, Goro severs his own connection to the god of blades from within, breaking the ancient ritual through self-destruction. The pain is beyond anything imaginable as his soul fragments in tears. When the chaos finally settles, exactly half the warrior souls have been severed from the collective, not through Goro's choice of who should die, but through the random destruction caused by his self-sacrifice. Goro awakens transformed in ways that go beyond the physical. No longer fully human, but not entirely spirit either, he exists as something unprecedented. A being bound to 54 remaining warrior souls in perfect balance. His eyes now gleam with otherworldly light, reflecting the fundamental change in his nature. The warriors within him are no longer pushing toward merger or seeking individual freedom, but exist in harmony with his own consciousness. But the Hallowed Order immediately classifies him as the most dangerous entity in existence. Neither human nor god, neither vessel nor spirit, but something entirely new that defies their understanding. Forever marked and hunted by those who fear what he represents. As the story concludes, shadowy figures observe from hidden dimensions, revealing that the god of blades was merely one component of a far grander design. Other vessels are being prepared even now, other gods waiting to be born. Yet in refusing the fate designed for him, in breaking free from centuries of manipulation and choosing self-sacrifice over the destruction of others, Goro has done something unprecedented. He's proven that even the most carefully laid plans can be undone by a single person willing to fight for what's right, no matter the cost. The once bullied teenager who couldn't defend himself against wooden swords has become something that even gods must acknowledge. In a world of ancient conspiracies and supernatural horrors, sometimes the greatest power is simply the courage to choose your own path.